Hey, you're building these apartments for the Norfolk Housing Authority? Maybe they'll build more. They don't go to war.
If something wasn't done or started in 1946 after the war, this city wouldn't be anything like it is today.
I think there's one other thing that is less direct directly attributable to this authority is the historical niche that the authority occupies. It came into being at about the right time. The city was ready for reform, but I think the city was acutely aware, the leadership of the city, of the massive slums and of the terrible effect of those slums. Also, well, the war was over, and it got to be a time where things could happen. So I think that all those things helped launch the redevelopment activities which started in the early 50s.
Frank makes an important point that is hard for people who have just come to Norfolk to understand, and that is how bad the housing conditions were after World War II. And I wasn't here either, but I've seen enough pictures and heard enough about it to know that, I mean, these weren't houses that could be rehabilitated. They were shacks. They had no sewer, no water, dirt streets, running water in the backyard, perhaps. Things that were never built to be anything in the first place.
But I've seen with my own eyes the living conditions that you wouldn't believe today existed 40 years ago.
I think another reason for our success is the fact that we are a housing and a redevelopment authority. And in those cities where the functions are separate, it's very difficult to set objectives that achieve a balanced program. In other words, if you're only trying to do low-income housing, you never consider middle-income housing and upper-income housing and the things that balance off a community. You're not expanding universities, you're not doing all the things that we've been doing, and being able to tie the change, the relocation of people, which is one of the more difficult parts of the program, to the housing resources. We've always set our sights very high, and if we hadn't done that, I don't think I'm not saying we've always achieved the objectives that we set, but if we hadn't set them high, we wouldn't have gotten where we are. I can remember people telling me that East Ghent, North and South Ghent Square was the craziest thing they'd ever heard. That was back when Ghent wasn't even a success yet. And everyone forgets that. Everyone forgets that Mowbray Arch had rooming houses on it. Now they're arguing about whether to allow a bed and breakfast. They used to have rooming houses.
You know, in that same vein, the homes in the mid-60s in Ghent, you could buy a shell out there for $3,000 to $5,000, which is now a $200,000 to $300,000 home. The idea in Ghent, people were saying if they built a $60,000 home, it would be fantastic. And now the homes are very $200,000 to $300,000 out there.
All of a sudden, in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, everyone woke up to the fact that we had these beautiful rivers and harbors, and an awful lot of the activity that used to be on them no longer requires waterfront property. It is trucking or going in containers or whatever it is, and so when we cleared it and began to change it into what it is now, the opportunity or the time was right. And then I think the city, and we had good plans, we had good designers, we had, again, good leaders, we had the vision of Jim Rouse, and that's what made it a success. And then we didn't think small.
But nothing like that happens until it's right.
What am I the most proud of? The authority's role in changing the housing conditions of the city of Norfolk. and providing sound, good housing opportunity. A big piece of that has been publicly assisted housing. A big piece of it has been doing redevelopment projects in the right way. A big piece of it has been conservation in the loan program. So it's not just one thing, it's all of our efforts in housing. Well, I think I would say, which I've said at annual meetings before, a kind of thank you to the people who have stayed and who have worked in the programs, because it's not always a very easy job, but all these things do take time, and all the bumps are hard. You have to have a strong hide to get through. And I think the people who have stayed here and keep working at it are to be thanked and congratulated for doing that.
I think they're remarkably good people. I think it's a good organization trying to do a very worthwhile job, and I think they do it well.